when I was coming up with the description for this episode earlier, like 2 hours ago, I put Mando face reveal, and it came off, and me and my boy here were like, yeah! Hopefully it gets me more views, because I'm look like Nostradamus. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mando Yodian. I love that. That's a great. I love that.
Yeah, Red Day says season 2 is coming.
I loved how he's citing. I love how he's citing actual battles and history. I just love history, so this is something that for me personally gets my nerdiness, my nerdy vibes going. Laid waste the fields of Mandalorian recruits in the Night of 1,000 Tears. I don't wish I knew what that was, but the Night of 1,000 Tears is very dramatic, very, it's like, okay, then what's that? What's the Night of 1,000 Tears?
You know, when they get trapped and they bring out that stupid gun?
Yes.
Straight out of Star Wars A New Hope, I was like, that's cool. It was like, get in there, you big furry oaf. I don't care what you smell,
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, because they're pinned down. Exactly. I can totally see that. And by the way, the sounds were exact too. All these sounds are like exactly down to the R2 unit with the hands, arms, and legs. When they do the flashback, I was actually anticipating that So who thought that this was Boba Fett grabbing him?
I did.
I thought it was Boba Fett grabbing him. I thought for sure.
I told my friend here, I said, that's Boba Fett! That's Boba Fett! And then he's like, but the other guy's Boba Fett too! And I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, it was great to see because it looked.
They all had that dark green color on their armor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and the jetpacks looked like appropriate.
Like everything was down to a T. I mean, everything, it was the same style and everything straight out of that. So, man, if they started season 2 of this with Boba Fett flying out of the Sarlacc pit, or I don't know, or maybe season 3 of that, people would go effing crazy. Anyway, they should do that.
They absolutely would, man. Red Gay says Kermit's on coke. DBS, give him a sec. Okay. Ha ha ha, Red Gay. Very funny, my friend.
So IG-11 kicks ass in this moment here coming down, and that was pretty awesome to see him take on the entire platoon of troopers.
Yeah. All he needs is Arnold Schwarzenegger's body and face, and he can be Terminator 2 Judgment Day Arnold. When he was going into the lava, like, oh man. Is that the last Cyberdyne Systems model? Oh.
Yeah, so here we are at the moment where, he's just about to die, right? He's all bleeding he's bleeding internally, it looks like. He's severed some serious trauma to his CPU, they called it. Yeah,
that's the money shot. I told you, it was like we won the lotto here. We were like jumping up and down because the face reveal, I don't know. I mean, I guess it was a good guess that I said it would happen this episode, but I mean, I think if it was going to happen, it would happen now, right?
The Mandalorian's Mexican?
Hey, well, he might be Spanish. I don't know.
The wonderful thing they point out about this is, once again, is that Mandalorians are a creed. They're not a specific race, and they pointed out, and that's the way it was in the EU. It's always been. They were a little bit more hardcore, at least in the previous EU, like the old Knights of the Old Republic. They were just all about like taking over entire worlds. Here, they're more the victim, just trying to stay alive. But that was a great moment to know that Mandalorians accept anybody who will join their ranks.
Yeah, they accepted Maul.
Yeah.
Well, that's whoever challenges the top dog on the yard gets the black saber, right? I mean, so they respect dominance, right?
Yeah, they're a warrior culture. They're a culture of war because they've been at war with themselves, at least in accordance with what we've seen in. Once again, I'm just trying to deal with Disney canon, and in Disney canon, they're still like they still fight amongst themselves.
They're going toe to toe with the Jedi, right? For like an old school war Jedi, Mandalore and the Jedi, they could hang with each other, right?
Yeah.
So the Mandalorians, they're not Jedi. They don't even have the Force, and they're keeping up with the Jedi. They're like the Viet Cong.
Well, they did fight the Jedi in the EU.
Yeah, they did. They did. Sorry, I'm laughing at Red Gaze's comment here.
Well, in Rebels, when you watch Rebels, and they go back on the black saber, the history of it, the Mandalorians raided the Jedi Temple and they stole it. They took it.
That's
Yeah.
I need to watch that last season of that. I haven't.
So, did you guys like the idea that they used Bacta fluid for his brain? I thought that was cool. That was great.
Bacta's the best.
Yeah.
I had
some of that myself. Some good old Bacta. Good old Bacta.
When you're hungover.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Take it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes that really helps.
If you get some genital wart, you just rub some Bacta on it.
What did you think about? I thought it was kind of funny that the forgive me, it's what was her name? She's a Smith, but she's
Cocksmith.
Cocksmith. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. She's a cocksmith.
Good.
And so I found it funny that she was the only one who survived, and she's perfectly fine. But
Yeah.
all the others. So part of me thinks that she's working with at least before that she may have been working with Moff Gideon at some point, because she must have made it. It seemed like everybody else was dead and she was still alive. That was kind of eerie to me.
Yes, that's BS, because unless she has a panic room in the sewers where she could hide.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, won't care, don't care. I didn't like that shit. I thought it was
That's kind of weird.
First of all, come on. No, she doesn't have the Force, and she's just out here hammering shit, to make the iron and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't do that, dog. Come on.
Yeah, they had to explain that a little better. That was definitely a kind of a crappy story point, because it's like we don't know how she survived, and we probably won't find out for a while. They'll probably never address it. But
she said she's not going to leave there until she melts down all the armor.
She
Right.
100% she's still alive. If she doesn't come back next season, she'll be back in season 3 or something, because they're going to be like, dun dun dun, strong woman.
right.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go back to her. She's got to make armor for Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian helmet.
Yeah.
Luke's diaper water is packed up. Nice one, Sentinel. That was pretty funny.
Diaper water is back to.
Cara Dune.
Yeah, and they lean down her arms. She looks like she's $125 now, and she's $175.
I don't mind her. I think she's pretty. I think she's pretty cute.
She looks like she eats too many pupusas. I know DBS knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Even though, see DBS, I know you don't eat pupusas.
So really quickly, I have to address Wookiee supremacy. He says that he just barely saw it. Badass, of course. Yeah, we all love this episode too. What kind of saber does the Moff have? He's asking about the dark saber. We're actually going to get to that. But the dark saber originally, its origin is from the Clone Wars. So if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, maybe check out some of the Clone Wars episodes that do have that. They tell the details and the history of it. If you know the EU stuff, the dark saber replaces the helmet from the EU, which was what Mandalore had kind of proposed as their prized possession that would dictate who became leader of Mandalore. And so the darksaber actually is it's a Mandalorian lightsaber. That's what it is. It
was forged by the first Mandalorian Jedi. There was a Mandalorian Jedi. They also go into details of the backstory on Rebels also, as well, same as in the Clone Wars.
Draven says their his or her first favorite war is the Clone Wars, then Empire, then the First Order. Yeah, I would have to. Clone Wars was pretty badass. If you're talking about my favorite war, I wonder if you're talking about like the Clone Wars television series. I mean, that was one of my favorite animated things. Period. Some of my favorite Star Wars happen in Clone Wars, by far. Some of the best Star Wars is in Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
In my opinion. But this was a funny moment because we have, forgive me, the armorer. She's like, oh no, it's okay. I'm going to stay here. She's like, what's his name in Rogue One? What do you call it?
With the crazy guy.
Oh, Saw Gerrera. She's like being like Saw Gerrera. No, it's okay. You just go. My place is right here. And so she gets attacked.
I will run no longer.
Hale Curtis, he says, I like the dark saber origins. Should have been Sidious' saber, Rise of Skywalkers. I wish that stupid blade that they had was the black saber.
Dude, that would have been, yeah.
Wow, why not? Like, why make up some stupid shit just to throw in there when you already have lore?
And one of the biggest problems with that too, Kerm, I'm so glad you brought that up. Just really quick, since we're talking about stupid stuff that's made up. So the Wayfinder, I think it's the Wayfinder. Yeah, it was the thing that looks like a Sith holocron. It looks exactly like a Sith holocron, but it's not a Sith holocron, but it looks it's like you got people thinking it. I thought it was a Sith holocron and it's like, okay, so it's not a Sith holocron. Well, anyway, it looks exactly like one. They just made up something new.
I watched that again today, and I thought when I saw that scene, that's exactly what threw my mind. I'm like, why didn't they just call it a Sith holocron? Exactly, Ben. Exactly.